If you think the Mamdani story is the big story, I take that back. The Platner story is the big story. You see, I was going to tell a Mamdani story, and then I replaced Mamdani with Platner. See, I got my Nazis and my commies and my Islamists all confused. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz Today. Let's go do some work, shall we? So Graham Platner drops out. Now the question, of course, is why? No. I know why. I know what you're going to tell me, but can we take a step back and ask ourselves why? The only power he had was being in the race. Why would he drop out of the race? They haven't replaced him with anybody yet. He desperately wants to be in the knowing of who gets selected. He wants to choose his successor. As a matter of fact, Democrats are on the record very aggressively saying that whomever replaces Graham Platner has to have the same qualities Graham Platner has. So I guess now they have to find another Nazi alleged sexual abuser. It's a Democrat party. It shouldn't be that hard. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669. 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the program. I have certain levels of naivete. And part of my naivete, this is something no radio host will actually ever tell you. They all think that, they're above it all. I will tell you where my flaws are. I sometimes believe, quite foolishly, that people do things for the right reason. I know. I'm a schmuck. And when I saw the story over there at Politico about Jenny Rassicot and the allegations against Graham Platner, and they had found this story, and the New York Times didn't cover the story, purposely didn't cover the story, mind you, and they wanted the story to be all about this woman, Lindsay Fifield, so they could say, see, she's a conservative, and this is just a hit job. You don't have to pay attention to it. And then they wrote this story about how Graham Platner allegedly broke into her house, a woman he was on again, off again seeing, held her down, and forced himself on her. And any other conversation, any other place, it would just be called rape. And I said, wow, I can't believe Politico actually printed that story. I'm good on them. Oh, Tony, you babe in the woods, you sweet little boy with your doe eyes and your sweet ass. How could you possibly think that the Politico people were just going to write a story because this Graham Platner is an issue? No. What if we timeline the whole thing? What if we take a look at the New York Times story where they clearly did a catch and kill? They wanted to make Lindsay Fifield look just like an angry conservative trying to undo the upstart progressive of the people, the candidate of the people. And so they dismissed her altogether. Right? That's how they wrote the story. And they wrote the story that way. Why? Because Graham Platner was still the opportunity to win the Senate seat in Maine, defeat Susan Collins. Democrats get a pickup. Oh, Lord, kumbaya. People didn't know that they were also going to get show tunes. I also don't think that's a show tune. And then what happened? Polling came out. The polling came out, and I believe it was Graham Platner. I mean, depending on the poll, he was trailing Susan Collins by give or take 5 points. Now, you could argue that she's an incumbent and a long-term incumbent. This isn't necessarily the craziest thing in the world to think that he would be trailing. But someone in the Democratic Party looked at that and said, that's not going to work. And then someone else in the Democratic Party got the wink and the nod and the whatever else it is. And they picked up their phone and they went beep, beep, boop, 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 beep. And the next thing you know, they said, make it happen, Politico. Click. Like somehow they're still using a regular phone where you actually hang it. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what phone it was. They could have sent it by carrier pigeon, or all I know. And the next thing you know, the Politico story comes out. I want to believe that we engage in the writing of stories, we engage in journalism for the sake of journalism. But the New York Times story was a story rewritten to purposefully denigrate and diminish what it is that Lindsay Fifield was saying. The Politico story was written seemingly to take Graham Platner out of the race, to create new fervor, to give Democrats an excuse to move him aside. The New York Times story pre-poll, the Politico story post-poll is everybody picking up when I'm laying down. I don't naturally think like that. I don't naturally go to those places. One of the reasons when I do an interview, I let people talk. I've had people comment on this my entire career. I really let people go. I don't interrupt. I actually want to hear what they have to say. I want us all to hear what they have to say. And then later we can discuss, can you believe what they just said? Don't get me wrong. Some things require pushback. They need pushback. But you should hear what somebody has to say so you can then engage what it is they actually said, not interrupting so you can imagine what the rest of the story is going to be. I believe that when people are still engaged in journalism, that they're engaged in telling us the story. And I have to constantly check myself on that because I know better. They're not engaged in journalism. Was the New York Times engaged in journalism? Absolutely not. And when was it the CEO of Daily Wire, Brett Scher? I don't know the man personally, was writing about this like, wow, it's a real problem for the New York Times. They should be embarrassed. And I said, I disagree with you here. In that they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly how they were doing it. They wanted to manipulate the story. They made their calculus. They engaged their calculations. They said, we have more chances to win here than lose here. And we're the New York Times. We're never going to lose our base. And Mercedes-Benz is going to keep being a sponsor and an advertiser. So what the hell? By the way, why the hell does Mercedes-Benz advertise in the New York Times? Now, someone could say to me, it's not Mercedes-Benz. It's a company like Mercedes-Benz. Go through the New York Times. Find the first 5 advertisers. Why would you advertise in such a piece of trash publication that proactively lied to support a Nazi while trying to destroy the life of a woman who is accusing him of sexual abuse? And so far, nobody is saying it didn't happen, except for Graham Platner. Oh, and innocent until proven guilty for sure. Now, innocent until proven guilty isn't enough for Democrats. No. Democrats will decide if you're guilty based on your polling numbers. If Graham Platner was polling 2 points ahead of Susan Collins, Graham Platner would be doing fundraisers with Elizabeth Warren today, because after all, according to Elizabeth Warren, that Graham Platner, that is her kind of man. She said it. I can't make it up. I have no capacity to make this up. I mean, you tell me. How I could ever think anything remotely like this.
I am here because Washington needs fighters, and Graham Platner is the fighter we need. You bet. I said to myself, that's my kind of man. Because
when you said that to yourself, did you also throw up a little in your mouth? I just curious if somehow you knew that this was gross and just a little bit, percolated right up. You're like, oh, that didn't taste good. I deserve that. Nothing. That's who would be campaigning with Graham Platner right now. Do I believe that the article was written purposefully to create a firestorm, to put pressure on Graham Platner to push him out, to get Democrats to give them the signal that they should pull away from him? Because this is Graham Platner's argument. I'm not playing his whole. Do you want me to play his walking away speech? And I don't think there's any 4-letter words in there, producer Landon. So I think we're okay. Well, Nazi Graham Platner basically said was that the establishment is making it impossible for him to proceed because they're taking away all the money and they're taking away all the opportunity and all the rest. And finger on the dump button, producer Landon, just in case I missed something here. Listen.
Hey, everyone. It's Graham Platner here. I think as many of you know, over the past couple days, I have faced some very serious allegations, and I just want to make it clear. This is all false. The things that have been claimed did not happen. It's not real. It has placed an immense amount of weight on me as I think about what needs to happen now. Amy and I are regular people. We were not looking for this experience. We were not looking to get into politics.
But you really got in it. I mean, you weren't looking to do anything. You were an oyster farmer selling oysters to your mother's restaurant. You weren't really a go out there and get them guy. I mean, a man of no ambition, a man of no drive. Listen, that exists, but you weren't even actually trying, Graham Platner. Sorry, Nazi Graham Platner. You were just taking the handouts, really. I mean, that's the story.
We had no desire to run for office. I just want you to think about like what you would do as a regular person in a position where a much larger world, large forces were working against you personally to accuse you of the worst thing that a person could do, and it was not remotely true.
Hold on a second. The forces were supporting you. All the forces were supporting you, and nobody forced you to get a Nazi tattoo, proclaim how great it is if soldiers die, and fantasize about being alone with yourself for enjoyment purposes in a porta potty. Just wanted that over here. Yes, multiple women accuse you of sexual impropriety, and that is an awful thing. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that at all. What an awful thing to be accused of. Awful. But the left told us to believe all women, so I guess we're just that's the way it's got to go, boo. That's the way it is. Even without these allegations, Nazi Graham Platner, you're still Nazi Graham Platner. You're still a bad guy. But now it's the establishment that's after you.
I learned about this through press inquiries with no time to truly respond, no time for investigations before a corporate media system and the political establishment got to act as judge, jury, and executioner. Accusations are supposed to be the beginning of things, not the end.
So now I ask, I think the only question that can be asked, because while there are things on which I am naive, there are things in which I am not so naive. Nazi Graham? Can I call you Nazi Graham? Nazi Graham? By the way, that's not when you send somebody a telegram with someone dressed up like Ava Braun. Nazi Graham it's anyway. If this is the case and the establishment is lining up against you, right? I'm not one of these people who buys in, well, if you didn't do anything wrong, you could stay in the race. No, no, no. Sometimes there's pressure, but let's turn this around, Nazi Graham. If the establishment is against you, but the people are for you. You remember the 154,000 and 48 people? Was it 154,048? I've got the number right here because you said it so many times. 154,084. Sorry. 154,084 people who voted for you in Maine. If they all wanted somebody who was anti-establishment and the establishment is taking you down, why not stay in the race? I asked you to stay in the race. I think Democrats should lose with you so they know what they did. It should be with them for forever. I swear to you, all we need is Brad Pitt and Inglourious Bastards to mark these people so we know who they are. But I ask, Nazi Graham, why not stay in the race? Well, they eliminated my ability to raise money. Whoa, 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 whoa. You got 154,084 people on your Nazi side. Why can't you just get donations from them? Why do you even need donations? Just make videos, push it to them, and they'll push it out to their people. Everybody will talk about it. You're the guy fighting the establishment. There is no rational reason Graham Platner dropped out of this race. Now, as of earlier today, Graham Platner had not filed the paperwork to actually drop out. So just like the allegations of sexual abuse against him are alleged, I'm going to say that so is his leaving this race. Until the paperwork is filed, he's the candidate. And he has not actually given a real reason why he has to go. Your career is over. Your future is over. And the only shot you have is running for this seat. It doesn't actually make sense that you'd leave unless something else is coming. Is that the story? Yeah. I'm not that naive. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. I was trying to share some of the statements of the trade representative, Jameson Greer, but it's not coming through, is it? It's very, very low. Let me see if I can get that from YouTube. Guys, good to be with you. What is going on? Yes. What else is Graham Platner going to do? He could go sit on Tucker's lap on his show. That is absolutely accurate. 1,000% true. I just don't think that's going to be what happens. But right now, one of the things going on is the Charlie Kirk preliminary hearing. It's all really ugly. Really, really, really ugly. Wait, why did you tell a campaign canvasser to go away, Pete? They're trying to get their boy elected. Wait, do you live in Maine? Were they for Graham Platner? What? Sorry, Nazi Graham Platner? Also, I'm going to say for the record, my Nazi Graham joke among some of my very best. I'm putting that in my top 5 of all my years doing the shows. Nazi Graham, not somebody dressed up like Ava Braun. I would like some. Top that, Clay and Buck. Like they did anything wrong. I'm proud of myself, dang it. All right. Coming back, Erica Kirk is warning people stuff. The preliminary hearings on the assassination of Charlie Kirk are continuing, and more video evidence is being provided. The killer's lover is going to be introduced, testimony introduced. Erica Kirk asked the judge to require that all the evidence admitted during the remainder of the hearing be displayed in real time for everyone lawfully present in the courtroom. Also asking for the court to republish exhibits admitted during the first 3 days of the hearing that were not shown publicly. This is the statement. The victim's family's position is simple. At a minimum, every exhibit entered into evidence during the preliminary hearing must be visible to every person lawfully present in the courtroom. To receive evidence in a manner shielded from those seated in the courtroom, as happened today, is not transparency. And in the absence of transparency, speculation and conspiracy theories related to the tragic assassination of Mr. Kirk will continue to proliferate in the public domain, breeding doubt and distrust in the judicial system. This is not what anyone should want. Agreed. The last thing we want is Candace Owens. That's a request and a half. Also, there's a great video going around. I don't know who put it together, but if someone can figure that out, I will give them all the credit in the world. Where it's Candace Owens saying that this murderous lowlife, he was never even on the Utah Valley University campus. He never stepped foot on the campus. He was never there. How could he have done it? And there's video of him in the parking garage. Anybody who listens to, supports, and believes Candace Owens should not be allowed to operate heavy machinery. Ever. Ever. But this move is to try and keep the conspiracy theorists at bay. I just don't know if she's going to get what she wants. I'm Tony Katz. I really don't. I'm with you, Jim. I'm with you. That, yes, the court of public opinion is outrageously powerful. But to try and it's clear that the family's trying to stop things before they start. They just don't want to have to deal with it. They do have a legacy to concern themselves with, and an organization to concern themselves with, and an organization's legacy to concern themselves with. We can't pretend that doesn't exist. It really does. Really and truly does. Also, I will say, I haven't dug into this. I should. I wonder how many people on this side of the microphone are paying attention to what's happening here, I'm a believer, if you don't know, that all of us, by virtue of any public pronouncement of a thought or an ideology that doesn't jive with the leftist, the progressive, the however you want to call it, can lead to violence, because they've already shown that they favor the violence. They desire the violence. They believe that they are justified in it, and they want to do more harm. I never once believed that you are fine and I'm going to get hurt. I believe that all of us who engage and share things and publicly disagree, those are people who can get a target on their back. My point was that I wonder how many people within this media world are watching this to see how it progresses. Because anybody who is in this business is absolutely a target, local, regional, national. All possible. Let me give you an example of the anger. This is someone commenting, "Are you a die for Israel Goyim neocon?" No, Amma, your mother costs too much. Radio host. That's what I am. That's what I am. See, I said your mom costs too much because she's a prostitute. I should have done it like who's the guy who does the Jeopardy skit with Will Ferrell? Darrell Hammond, who does the Sean Connery. Sean Connery referring to Will Ferrell's Alex Trebek's mother as a prostitute is joyous. Joyous. Nice avoidance. I'm not avoiding. I don't care. What does it matter what some guy deciding to throw comments my way matter? It's just, you were just fun before you got blocked. See? Now you got blocked. Thanks for the fun. I'll leave a couple bucks on the dresser like I do for your mom. Who am I kidding? She doesn't get a couple. And maybe that's why people come at you. What did I do to that guy? That's how he starts. That's mean. I was supposed to be all sweet with the dude. Nah. I hope he finds some happiness. I really do.
We can win, but we've already won militarily. They have very little. They have very little left, and they want to make a deal so badly. They called a little while ago. They want to make a deal so badly. I just don't know if they're worthy of making a deal. I don't know that they're going to honor the deal. That's the problem.
If they want to make.
That's the president of the United States. That's Donald Trump on Air Force One. Tony Katz today. Now, there is a quick Air Force One story to get to. And remind me, I got to make a correction about Sonny Hostin. I want to make sure I get that done and clear because I like to be clear. There had been a lot of talk about why it is that President Trump wasn't taking the new Air Force One from Ankara, from Turkey, back to the United States. He was on the old Air Force One. And I thought it was weird that the New York Times was pressing on that. But I always believe that these people want to see him get hurt. And so it's kind of like you're giving out where he's going to be flying, how he's going to be flying, what he's going to be doing so someone can track him. It was awkward to me that one reporter asked, Trump basically sidestepped the issue, and then another reporter asked. Why was that happening? Well, the story is that the Secret Service advised the president not to take the new Air Force One, this gift from Qatar, to take this home. They thought it was a precautionary measure. They thought once you saw the new fighting break out while the president was in Turkey, it would be best if that was not in the sky. You can make other things seem less visible. Maybe that's the case. Now, some in the chat room are saying the new Air Force One doesn't have all the security measures. If the new Air Force One doesn't have all the security measures, then it's not Air Force One. I don't care how nice the seats are. You could bring Ricardo Montalban back from the dead and tell me about the fine Corinthian leather. By the way, producer Landon, can you find some audio of Ricardo Montalban talking about fine Corinthian leather? That would be a nice addition to the show. It's not Air Force One. If I can have it, it's not Air Force One. It needs all the things to be Air Force One. So there wasn't a credible threat. There was no specific threat to the president. There was a, you know what we're going to do? We're going to be very careful. It's like people who work certain jobs. They take a different route to work every day. I don't know if you've ever done that or not. They take a different route to work every day. Of course they do. That would make perfect sense. So that was the Air Force One story. But while he's on Air Force One, the president says that Iran called and they want to make a deal. I don't know if I want to make a deal for them. Now, I'm going to say some things that are going to make MAGAville angry. This is not my want. I don't get anything special for making MAGAville angry. I voted for Donald Trump 3 times. When I tell you I'll say anything I damn well please, I mean it. And I'll say it to the president, to the vice president. I'll say it to the cabinet. It means nothing. He works for me. I don't work for him. He needs to be loyal to me, to the Constitution. I don't need to be loyal to him. I only am loyal to the Constitution because I know that it works, and that's how you keep the country going and flowing and make sure that Article 4, Section 4, that guarantees me a Republican form of government, remains in effect. I should say a Republic form of government. That's the way it's said. I thought the president in Ankara was at his very, very best. He wasn't good. He wasn't great. He was exceptional. He was a 12 out of 10 on a scale that was full spinal tap and goes to 11. He was better. His the dealings with Syria, where you're seeing more and more movement, they're now being taken off the idea of not just a terror watch list, but being seen as a terrorist state because they've been so helpful in removing terrorists. This is a guy who used to be running an Al-Qaeda outlet. But life in Syria post Bashar al-Assad is better, at least certainly better for us, not better for everybody. You still have communities like the Druze, D-R-U-Z-E, and others who want to be annexed by Israel. That's right. The ones that people like Rashida Tlaib call genocidal. There are Druze and Christian communities that want to be annexed because, of course, Israel doesn't engage in genocide. It's a lie told by absolutely stupid people who can't get over their own hate. The president was beyond belief. The moves with Syria, the moves with Ukraine, how he dealt with NATO. Now, we could equally say that Mark Rutte, or pronounced sometimes Rutte, who's the Secretary General of NATO, understands the president, understands how to work with him, and is getting what he wants out of Trump and supports Trump in pushing these countries to a 5% of GDP towards their own defense. Trump is handling it with exceptionalism, with joyousness. He's doing it all right, all correct. The left can be angry and scream and yell. The left doesn't even understand the levels of good moves happening here. They can't. Because the good moves happening here involve American strength and American security. And the very last thing that they want is American strength and American security. We'll get into that. We're going to get into the DSA, just more examples of these communists that call themselves democratic socialists, admitting that the objective is to tear down the American dream, to tear down Western civilization. There's no difference between the DSA, between the Iranians, and between the Chinese Communist Party. There is no daylight. And Trump on Iran was spectacular. And there was no better line. Absolutely no better line that was delivered than when he is asked in the press conference, you talk about Iran now. You talk about they're terrible. You talk about how they're liars. You talk about how they can't be trusted. But last week you were saying this and you were saying that and you were saying how great they were and how rational they were. How is it possible that now you're saying that they're terrible? And President Trump said, I got to know them. That is a mic drop moment. That is spectacular. And there's a Marco Rubio. He's laughing. He's joyous. Because it seems that everybody's come around to understanding that the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, was never going to work. What did we say here? What did we say from the beginning? I'm not getting worked up by this. This thing is meaningless. Said the words, meaningless. Now, people like Noah Rothman said, Tony, I disagree. It absolutely has meaning because they're about to get billions of dollars because we have waived the oil sanctions. And they're going to get this and they're going to be able to do that. And it looks like to Arab partners that they won because they view strength differently. And that much is very, very true. You only have to look at Barack Obama's speech in Cairo, the apology speech for American strength. That wasn't humble. In Arab cultures, that was seen as flat out weakness. And that's exactly how they viewed it. And that's exactly how they maneuvered on it. He absolutely knocked it out of the park. And you realized, my gosh, we have got ourselves an opportunity to end this. Maybe now it's the recognition that you can't ration with radical ideologues who dream of the 12th Imam and want Western civilization to be destroyed so they can have a worldwide caliphate. You cannot ration with these people. You cannot rationalize with these people. You cannot reason with these people. You can only destroy them or live with being a victim of their terrorist actions day in and day out. If it's not this day, it's the next day. If it's not the next day, it's the day after, but that day will come and then they'll do it again. They'll do it again. What's the plan? I thought it was great. I thought that President Trump was a 12 out of 10. He would have been a 13, but he did say that we had to deal with an attack from the Islamic Republic of Japan. It was a gaffe. I don't know why he decided that it was going to be Japan and not Iran, but it happened.
And 2 months ago, we had 100, I told this story yesterday, we had 111 missiles shot by the Islamic Republic of Japan. They were shot at the aircraft carrier over a period of about 1 hour.
All right. Everybody gets one. He did everything else like super well. Haha. We'll move on. And then he gets on Air Force One and says they want a deal so bad. I don't know if I want to give him a deal. I've known Trump enough, like you, to know that it's not about the words, it's about the deeds. What will he do? And we saw a lot of bombing take place in the overnight. We hear about things regarding Carg Island. Certainly we'll hear more about Ketchum Island. Let us see what happens. Blockade back in effect. Oil waiver has been rescinded. Let's see what happens next over the next days. But I am flat out exhausted hearing President Trump talking about the possibility of a deal. This is the spot where I sadly make some people in MAGAville upset. It's too stupid for words and it has to stop. I get that you like misdirection. I get that you want to keep people on their toes. I handle this well. I understand it. You're hurting yourself. You look ridiculous. Stop it. And I don't know why Stephen Miller hasn't told you this, Mr. President. Maybe he doesn't love you like he should. You look ridiculous. You are starting to teeter into Joe Biden territory, and you're nothing like Joe Biden. You know where you are, but you keep playing this game because I'm keeping everybody off balance. You look ridiculous. Could you stop, sir? Oh, don't get me wrong. If you stop, I'll be able to enjoy myself much more because I'm tired of the whole thing, as the country's tired of the whole thing. But you aren't helping your cause. And part of your cause is having strength, having conviction, and understanding what's going on. You sound silly. You sound like a woman in the tile shop trying to figure out if she wants to go with the light brown granite or the light brown granite. Like it's the most important decision ever. I just don't know which one I'm going to choose. You can't make the deal, sir. It's not your fault. You can't make a deal with these people. You can't rationalize with these people. You have to kill them or you have to go home. Pick one. And then do it. But if you go home, what the hell was it all for? You had a great day in Turkey. Don't screw it up. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. So I posted on LinkedIn about Nazi Graham Platner dropping out of the race and referred to him as Nazi Graham Platner, and LinkedIn took it down for hateful speech. They sent me a notice. There was hateful speech, and I want to respond. What'd you think of the tattoo? Good Lord. That is really something right there. All right, so here's what I know. I need a haircut. That's first. See, it used to be I could go get a haircut on the day of, be like, go. And now I'm making appointments. I don't want to make an appointment. Why in the world? Just come on. Don't be jerks. Your mom's a jerk. Anyway. Like they're busy, and all of a sudden, how dare they? How dare you be making money when I'm not there? That's fine math. All right, we're coming back to the show. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate all the hits on the like button. If we haven't met before, I'm Tony Katz. It's a pleasure. I was going to light up. I was going to grab a cigar, and I forgot to do it before the show began. I haven't had a cigar on air in a while. We did Eat, Drink, Smoke yesterday, my cigar and bourbon show, heard across the country. Find the podcast, Eat, Drink, Smoke, eatdrinksmokeshow.com, and had a real beautiful Habano from my father, the La Lealtad, Lealtad. Terrific smoke. Let's get back to the show. Zoran Mamdani now wants to take on the Italians of New York. They're communists. It's who they are. It's the single most insane story I could come up with. I could not have invented this. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I will get to it. Tony Katz today. Should I give you like the little tease right now? All right. They put out a map. No. You have to wait. That's the way it has to be. I can't just tell you the story. You know what? I'll talk about Denmark instead. Denmark says they're going to defend Greenland. Sure you are. You're going to throw clogs at us? Do they have clogs in Denmark? Yeah, Denmark is the place of clogs. Because I don't want to get that wrong, because that would just be rude and maybe cultural appropriation. Well, not really. No, it's not. All right. But they're kind of, it's in the area. It's Holland. Yeah, it's the Netherlands. That's my fault. I don't want to be rude. So I apologize for that. Whatever footwear you're going to throw at us, it's not going to work. You, Denmark, want the United States to have a place in Greenland. So you can talk about defense all you will, but rather this is the place where the deal does get made, and it's better for you. This isn't a thing to fight. This is an opportunity to build on. And I'm just surprised Denmark hasn't done it yet. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz today. Yeah, you can't say Denmark has clogs when they don't have clogs. That's just downright rude. They're throwing some kind of footwear. So here's the story. Wait till you hear This is the story about New York. You will lose your minds. You will lose your minds. I've got that. Also, I've got how the DSA views the world, Democratic Socialists, which is to say the communists. I've got that story as well. And I will bring that to you. And did Mehdi Hassan do something right? Plus, we have 3 more things. And Republicans coming to the aid of the WNBA and why they are wrong. So stupidly wrong. Hang loose, kick back, smoke them if you got them. We'll be back in a little bit. You know, we do this with the radio show. So when the radio show's in commercial break, we're in commercial break. And that's what we're doing right now. So relax, take it easy, stay where you are. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Tony Katz. The show is Tony Katz. Today, I appreciate you being here. Hit like, hit subscribe. Tell all your friends right now to get in. The water is fine. You have to bring your own snacks. I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry. Also, no glass bottles. Thank you. Nirav Shah wants to be the replacement for Graham Platner. They are already running to replace him. But I haven't seen. Can someone do me this? Beth? Has Graham Platner filed his paperwork to pull out of this race, to withdraw? Because until he does, I don't believe it. But we are going to get into a whole DSA conversation. We have to understand what it is we're dealing with. Does everybody understand what in the world we are dealing with? I will get to it. Also, you're going to have a finger on the dump button there, Producer Landon. Lord only knows. Lord only knows. They're lining up to replace Graham Platner in Maine as he has dropped out of this race. He tells you he's forced out by the establishment. Dun, dun, dun. Not by his Nazi tattoo, not by his own words, not by his own alleged actions. Multiple women. No, it's the powers that be. You know, there wouldn't be a problem with this, Graham Platner, if you were just in a better polling position. And I think that argument really does connect. Tony Katz today. Guys, a pleasure to be with you. Live streaming on YouTube and Rumble. Check it out for yourself. Just look for Tony Katz and subscribe and be a part of it. On Twitter, X, Tony Katz, Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. If he was polling better. We've seen this before. We know what it is we're dealing with. Did they or did they not tell us Joe Biden was fine? That Joe Biden was healthy, that Joe Biden was cogent, that Joe Biden was capable, that Joe Biden was running laps around staffers, and that when you saw a video of Joe Biden wandering away or being led by the Easter Bunny, those are nothing more than cheap fakes, not deep fakes, cheap fakes. That's what Corinne Jean-Pierre told us. Cheap fakes. But of course, we knew what we saw, and we were not about to be gaslit. But a lot of the country was gaslit. Then, once you saw the debate and you realized that guy is not okay, that guy is nowhere near okay. They told us it was a bad night. It wasn't a bad night. How much do you hate people that you're willing to lie to them? And how much do you hate Joe Biden that he's clearly not okay and you're still willing to run him? And then George Clooney came out and said, you know, he's not okay, right? I've got this story from months ago. And that was it. And then what did they do? They replaced him with Kamala Harris without in any way, shape, or form asking the people who had voted for him. The people, the millions of people who voted for Joe Biden. Now, I think they're wrong, but what does that matter that I think they're wrong? They voted for a guy. They're American citizens and they voted for a guy. I think they voted poorly, but they voted for a guy. And the Democrat Party looked at those people and said, thanks for nothing, kitten. Thanks for pretending you have a say in your democracy. We're the Democrat Party. We'll decide what's best for you. They plopped in Kamala Harris. No one voted for her. No one has voted for Kamala Harris to be a nominee on a federal level ever. You know how many votes she got to be the nominee for the Democrats when she ran for president? 0, because she pulled out of the thing before Iowa. For some inexplicable reason, she decided to set up her headquarters in Baltimore because, as you know, Kamala Harris has a huge connection to Baltimore. Wait, what? She's from California. Yeah, I know, but she's set up in Baltimore. But what's the connection to Baltimore? There's allegedly something, but no one really knows what the connection is. Doesn't matter. She's just ridiculous. And they made her the nominee. They didn't take it to the people. They didn't ask. They didn't care. They just said, there it is. Oh, Biden said she should be the nominee? That done. Fine. Gone. Democrats wouldn't have picked her. They knew that she wasn't capable. They knew that Kamala Harris was, there's a term. There's a word for it. I think it comes from the French. Stupid. That's it. They knew she was stupid. And then she said, how do I prove I'm smart? And she nominated Tim Walz to be her vice president. Just knocked my glasses off. Got so excited. That's what happened. That's what happened. They went about deciding the nominee, they being the people in the back room. In Maine, now that they've taken out Graham Platner, 154,084 Democrats who agreed, voted for a Nazi. I wouldn't have done that. Their vote no longer counts. Their vote no longer counts, and a couple hundred people, I forget, it's like precinct people or whatever, are going to pick the nominee. So now they're all gearing up to be the nominee. Now there's this guy, Troy Jackson. And I know some people have said he's definitely going to be the nominee. I do not know if that is true. He has got his own stories. That's right. They've known about these people, and there's already stories about them. He has the support of labor unions, and he has the support of Bernie Sanders. He was originally elected back in the day to the Maine House of Representatives and the Maine State Senate as a Republican. Well, I should say that he was elected as an independent. And then he joined the Democratic Party in 2004 after previously running as a Republican, because that always goes over great. And he believes in workers' rights, Medicaid for all, and tribal sovereignty. No word yes on whether he's got an issue with the evil Zionists, which I assume has got to be part of a Democratic Party platform. Just ask Rahm Emanuel. Then there is Nirav Shah. Interesting. Nirav Shah was the director for the CDC in Maine during COVID. And he lost the Democratic primary for governor, which means he has a track record. People know who he is. He's an epidemiologist, I believe. Establishment politicians have failed us. To defeat Susan Collins, we need an outsider who is not afraid to take on the broken system she has spent decades upholding. He was at the height of Maine government, but somehow he's also an outsider. Great. Producer Landon asked me, well, wait, is he a communist like Graham Platner? I said, well, if he's going to replace Graham Platner, he's got to be a communist. They've already made this very, very clear. Now, this is Joy Reid. I haven't had a chance to listen to this, producer Landon, so you got to be ready. Do you know what that means? That means finger on the dump button. That's what it means. Because when you play some Joy Reid, you got to be prepared. Now, I'm looking at the transcript, and I think, there's one thing. There's one thing I think we're all right. This is progressive. Look at me. I could be a commie too. Joy Reid making her statement on who Maine has to pick.
Just picked Platner. So you need to replace him with somebody who is ideologically the same, because that is what was decided.
So to replace him with someone who's ideologically the same, you have to replace him with a Nazi potential sexual abuser. Oh, no, you mean communists. You mean communist.
The people of Maine, the Democratic voters of Maine said, we want a progressive. They did not say they want an AIPAC moderate. So the Democratic Party in Maine ought to pick someone who is ideologically the same or ideologically similar as Platner. If you don't, and the DNC shoves an AIPAC candidate down your throat, you have my permission and I'll vote for them.
Well, as long as I've got Joy Reid's permission. Allow me to be clear. The Democratic Socialists of America are far more of a danger to America than AIPAC. It's laughable if there are people who don't understand that. AIPAC is not your problem. Communists are your problem. Islamists are your problem. AIPAC's not your problem. And even if you argue they are a problem, they're at least third on the list of three I just gave. Right? There's communists tied with Islamists. Then there's the idea of any reboot of Joy Reid's television show. Then there are the people out there who eat their pizza with a knife and fork. Then there's AIPAC. Just make that list all easy for you. What a thing. AIPAC is your issue. I put forth to you that the progressives that she is talking about are those people who are the Democrat Socialists. The Democratic Socialists of America. Communists. There is no such thing as a Democratic Socialist. Now, again, finger on the dump button, producer Landon, and be ready. Get it together, man. This is put together by Canary Mission. These are members of the Democratic Socialists of America, self-described, some of them women, some of them men, some of them trans, some of them, I don't know, pretending to be adults. Listen to what their desires are.
And, you know, we have a unique responsibility to act from the heart of empire, the belly of the beast. The most important thing that we can do is take that empire down from within.
Our role ultimately is to facilitate our own empire's failure in ways that we can, ultimately to overthrow our own empire.
U.S. imperialism is not a thing that can be reformed away. It has to be overthrown through revolutionary struggle.
And to build a mass movement that can use the leverage of workers to hit the kill switch on American imperialism here within the American empire.
Now, AIPAC might think that Israel should exist, but these people want to destroy America. Joy Reid, what's more dangerous? I'll wait. I'll wait. They actually think that the United States is an empire. Do you know how daft and ignorant you have to be to believe such a thing? Now, maybe those people didn't make it clear. Maybe Jordan Garces of the Rhode Island DSA will make it perfectly clear. The objective of the Democratic Socialist is the objective of the communist because they are one in the same, and it is to tear down Western civilization.
We're not here to make the Democrats a little bit better. We're not here to get the little crumbs. We're here to actually enact socialism. And socialism is not just better capitalism. It's overthrowing the entire capitalist state.
Tucker Carlson is wrong, and Candace Owens is wrong, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is a holy damn fool. This is the threat. AIPAC's not your threat. You might not like it. You might not like what they advocate for. Okay. They're Americans, and this is the thing that they focus on. This is something that they focus on. They focus on Israel's existing and support. Great. But Israel's support focuses on America's support because it's going to be hard for Israel to exist without the United States being in their corner. We would all agree with that. These people don't think America should exist. How do you, Tucker, Candace, Marjorie Taylor Greene, how do you think you're going to exist in their society, in their world? Answer that, internet trolls aplenty. Which one is a threat? Joy Reid wants to concern herself with AIPAC? Can't you hear how absolutely ridiculous that sounds? I didn't say you like everything they do. I didn't say you like anything they do. But when we're discussing a threat to the nation, here's the Democratic Socialist winning in New York, winning in Colorado, winning in Seattle. And now they want this exact thing to go to the U.S. Senate in Maine to join Representative Ocasio-Cortez and others. Can we stop pretending that these people screaming about Zionism and AIPAC have anything to offer at all except to be of value to these communists? Carol Markowitz said something outrageously bright. You often see her over there in the New York Post. And the line that she used is that it is obvious, beyond obvious, that the American left desperately needs Republicans to abandon Israel and Jews so that liberal Jews can pretend that it's happening on both sides and they can compete, they can keep supporting these Democrats. So you need Tucker, you need Candace, you need Marjorie Taylor Greene, as if she was ever on the political right, to be these anti-Zionists, whatever they want to call themselves. So it gives cover to the leftists on the Jews leftists to be able to say, yeah, this is the problem, and I can still vote for these people. Sometimes it just plays itself out. Sometimes it just plays itself out. I didn't say you had to like AIPAC. It's fine by me. It's never said you can't look at things and causes and people they donate to. It's fine by me. They're a bigger threat than Islamists or communists. That's just stupid. Objectively stupid. If you are honest with yourself, you take a look at what's happening in Maine and you say, my God, they really do want to elect a communist. That's exactly what Graham Platner was. And that's what they're going to try and replace him with. That's what they're demanding he be replaced with. I would still caution everyone to look at whether or not Graham Platner has actually filed his paperwork to withdraw from the race. Because until that happens, ain't nothing happening. This is Tony Katz Today. good to be back, everybody. Tony Katz today. An absolute pleasure. Let me go to the comments right here. They put soccer moms on terrorist watch lists. We're not surprised anymore. Yeah. Well played. That is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Wait, why am I delusional? I'll feel free to answer. I don't know. Someone called me. Maybe they weren't talking to me. No, he's not signing a memorandum of understanding. Funny. I want to see where he actually filed the paperwork to withdraw. Because until he does that, I don't know why I would think he's leaving. That's all I'm saying. Meanwhile, Republicans haven't figured out not to be ridiculous. I can't believe I have to vote for these people at times. They make it hard all the time. You don't have to be this way. Anyway, the show is coming back. We will get to it. There's nothing I despise more than the self-inflicted wound. When people, candidates, parties, political parties, when they do damage to themselves just because they're not capable of being normal. They're just not capable of having any flow. Tony Katz today. A pleasure, guys. This is the headline. Republicans warn WNBA of federal scrutiny over violence against Caitlin Clark. What? You've got Representative Pfluger of Texas, chairman of the Republican Study Committee, leading the effort, sending a letter to the commissioner of the WNBA, Kathy Engelbert. Clark has been hip-checked, poked in the eye, and struck in the throat during games. These incidents go far beyond routine physical play, yet the WNBA and its officiating have too often failed to address these unacceptable incidents and hold the players accountable. Congressman, what are you doing? I don't disagree with you. There's a real problem in the WNBA. There's a really a large problem with Kathy Engelbrecht. She's not doing her job at all. And you take a look at who co-signed on this. You got a lot of members of my district, of my state, I should say. Representative Aaron Houchin, Marlon Stutzman, and Victoria Sparks. Full disclosure, my member of Congress. What are you doing? Complain like a fan. What, are you going to get Congress involved because Caitlin Clark's getting abused? How many more people are you going to get involved with because someone's getting abused? Use your bully pulpit to say the WNBA is ridiculous. Use your bully pulpit to say Kathy Engelbrecht has to go. Use your bully pulpit to say you're going to lose every fan when you have an opportunity to have a great amount of fans. And in Indiana, it hits more because Caitlin Clark is here as part of the Indiana Fever. You're getting Congress involved? You're saying this as a member of Congress? That WNBA, you have to be doing more, and we're going to take a look at this, and there could be federal. Have you gone through every tape to see whether or not any black players have gotten punched in the face once or twice? I'm only asking because that's what somebody's going to do and say, see, you only care when it's the white girl. Why can't you be normal? The WNBA is failing, and they clearly want this. So say so. But bring Congress to this? I don't pay you for that. Get back to work. I'm Tony Katz. Honestly, I thought I was going to lose my voice on that one. Just out of my head. Out of my mind. So stupid. You cannot. And then Marlon Stutzman, if it were not for Caitlin Clark, the WNBA would still be irrelevant and possibly even defunct. Stop it. You don't do that as a member of Congress. Just, damn, do I hate stupid. Hate it with passion. All right, so I've got this. I've got 3 more things coming up. I've got this. Let me see what else is going on. Do not have that. Oh, I have this. It's time to answer the Elaine Cho question. And then oh, that's right. This I never got to this story. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Yes, they can, Jim. If they're talking about it, they want to make a comment to it, they want to put out a post, they're more than welcome to as members, right? They're people. But to say Congress should act, stop it. You're so far over your skis. And what I said is true. That's how it's going to get turned. 10,000%. Apple or Samsung? I am an Apple guy. Apple everything. It's because I'm used to it and I'm in that sandbox, and it's just there's no need for me to move. I don't want to be in the Android world. I don't want to get back into Microsoft stuff. I'm here. I'm here and I'm here to stay. So that's it. Listen, if you want to refer to Apple as the devil, that's completely fine. Not going to stop you. All I'm saying is I'm not changing. No, that's too much like work. I'm not interested in that. Leave me alone. Stop making my life difficult. What is it? We'll come back in 30 seconds. Very good. Go. Boom, boom, boom. Three more things. Tony Katz today. Good to be here. Good to be with you. Live streaming on YouTube and Rumble, on Twitter, X, on Facebook, Tony Katz Radio. Just look for Tony Katz wherever you are, and you will find it there, the podcast as well. Three more things. These are stories that should be front page news, but because of all the front page news, it's not front page news. I want to bring it to you. Did Elaine Cho, is it pronounced Chow? No, it's Elaine Cho, who is the wife of Senator Mitch McConnell, take off for China after he was hospitalized? So that's the story. Mitch McConnell's not in good health. Mitch McConnell's not okay. Some people have mocked this. Some people have it's Margaret Cho and it's Elaine Chao. Thank you. Got that right. Elaine Chao, she was the Secretary of Labor in Trump's first term. She's got her own history. The story was that Mitch McConnell got ill. Mitch McConnell was hospitalized. She flew to China. That's the story. I always thought that was a very odd story as it was coming out. And are we sure about that? And then there's a conversation about whether or not she was already in China. The secretary was on a long planned trip to China to support her family's philanthropic endeavors. During the trip, she met with a number of people, including the U.S. ambassador. The senator's help did not warrant an immediate return to the U.S. That's the statement provided by one of her spokespeople. She met with Chinese officials at a university on June 12th, 2 days before McConnell was hospitalized. The school even reported her there on the website. 2 days after McConnell was hospitalized, the Chinese People's Institute of Foreign Affairs said that Chao met with their president in Beijing. There's even a photo. Then at the Embassy of the People's Republic of China in the United States of America, she met with the Chinese vice president. So the real story behind the story here is about whether or not Mitch McConnell has these massive connections to China through his wife, etc. And the answer is I'm not so sure. I can say this. If I know that my spouse is ill and I'm on a trip and you tell me that my spouse is in the hospital, I'm going to ask what for. If you tell me she broke her leg, I'm going to say, oh, crap, put me on the phone. And then we're going to talk. I'm going to ask about the pain and everything else. I'm going to say, listen, you're there, you're resting. That's exactly what you'd be doing anyway. Keep taking pain pills. I'm going to talk to you 7 times a day. I'm going to keep finishing up this trip because it's a broken leg and you're stabilized and you're safe. If it's a heart condition and a coma, I'm coming home. I don't think I said anything that the vast majority of spouses who have been married more than a decade, right? Or you need a little bit of time with that, wouldn't say. I don't think I've said anything out of bounds. I think that's a rational position. Your husband of known health issues, including losing his place and freezing up, is in the hospital for possibly the same thing, and you don't come home. Jeffrey says, well, that's assuming you still love your spouse. Well played. Well played. There's a story in Business Insider about, we talk about it on Eat, Drink, Smoke this week, eatdrinksmokeshow.com. Baby boomers are getting divorced at a record pace. And part of the issue is they're living longer and they're like, I don't want to look at you anymore. And they're getting divorced. And there's a real conversation about what happens to married couples when they allow everything else to become the focus of their marriage and not each other. I love my kids. I love my kids. The things I would do for my children, there's no jail that isn't worth it. No, there is no meeting of the maker where I wouldn't say I'd do it again. Love my kids. I didn't have kids so I could have a life. I could have kids so I can make my life better because there was love to share. The marriage has to endure. I got into this whole thing because I'm like, there's somebody I could spend some time with. In all the ways I like to spend time. There we go. That if I you know what I did? I liked it and then I put a ring on it. That's what I did right there. That Beyonce, she is a life Sherpa. Life Sherpa. You're right. If they don't like each other, well, then maybe that's a story in and of itself. This Elaine Chao story is very, very strange. I agree with that. And also, I would like to know about the philanthropic efforts that she's raising money for. And why are you raising it from the Communist Chinese Party to the point where you have to go to China? That's my question. Then there's the story of the judge. The judge in Wisconsin who is helping an illegal immigrant escape ICE capture. Yeah, she lost her job. And she's not going to jail. A $5,000 fine and time served. She should have gone to jail. She should have gone to jail, people. And the judge in the case was, well, listen, this was clearly a misguided thing to do, but otherwise, she has led a law-abiding life. So has the person who shot somebody else. Jail is filled with people who led a law-abiding life until the moment they didn't. If I help somebody evade capture, what does that matter? Led a law-abiding life until you killed the guy. Well, $5,000 fine. I mean, you were fine up until now. That's messed up stuff. But nothing tops this. You are seeing this story explode all over your social media. You are seeing this story everywhere. This is the New York Post headline. You have every right in the world to lose your mind. This is a real story. I can't make this up. Mayor Mamdani's map of New York City immigrant neighborhoods sparks outrage for ignoring Little Italy. Let me explain to you what's happened here. What's happened here is that they created a map. This map is of all the coolest little spots where they have some kind of cultural identity. Now, that's true of New York. Little Italy, Chinatown, there's this, there's that, there's Koreatown, there's a whole bunch of places. But then you take a look at this map. And this map has Chinatown in all the areas. It's got the Guyana Gateway. It's got Little Africa and Staten Island, and in the Bronx, Little Albania, Little Bangladesh, Little Caribbean, Little Colombia, Little Dominican Republic, Little Ecuador, Little Egypt, Little Guyana. There are 2 Little Guyanas, by the way. Then there's Little Haiti and Little India and Little Manila, Little Mexico and another Little Mexico, and then Little Odessa. That's Brighton Beach. Yeah, I know where that is. Little Palestine. There's Little Palestine. And then there's Little Pakistan, Little Poland, Little Senegal, Little Ukraine, and Little Yemen. But not Little Italy. Mamdani's team wants to say it was a mistake. There's never been a moment in my career more that I wished I was on satellite radio than right now, so I could say what needs to be said the way it needs to be said on radio right now. This is not at all a mistake. This is purposeful. And to my Italian friends in New York, I think you should do something about it. If you don't understand what the communist is all about, if you don't understand what he is all about, being an Islamist, it is about erasure. If you're somebody who believes that America exists on stolen land, well, you certainly don't believe in the idea of Christopher Columbus, using that as an example. And you certainly wouldn't believe in Vespucci. Amerigo Vespucci? You wouldn't believe in any of that. That's who America is named after, by the way. You would say, forget them. Forget anybody connected to Italy. Let's erase them. It's not a mistake. They made sure they had little Palestine. That's not even a place. But they didn't have little Italy. I don't know about you, but me, I'd be pretty outraged if that happened to me. Let the outrage flow. Understand what these people are about. They want to tear down society, and they are about erasure. They aren't about our diversity is our strength. They are about removing certain segments. I don't think we should forget about Amerigo Vespucci. I don't think we should forget about Christopher Columbus. I don't think we should tear down his statue. I think we should put another 7 of them up. That's what we should do. Until people understand what it is that they are dealing with, you're going to lose. Because this will keep happening. And you're like, oh, it's a slight. They forgot it on a map. What's the big deal? We know where Little Italy is. Every day is something else. Every day is another slight. Every day is another punishment. Every day is another insult. When will you stop being insulted is the question that needs to be asked to those people. When will you say enough? That's the question. Speaking of enough, when are you going to say enough to the data broker stealing your identity? Thousands of places on the internet have a file with your name on it. Thousands of them. You're talking about home address and cell numbers and email addresses, medical conditions. How about age? How you vote? Your kids' names. Your kids' names. You can't read the file. Oh, no. But anyone with a credit card can buy it. And that file is the product of a multi-billion-dollar industry called data brokers. And then your file is collected, packaged, and sold, and it's legal. Every scam call, every phishing text that knows too much about you, someone paid for your file. And last year, Americans lost a record $20 billion to fraud. Scammers didn't get lucky. They got prepared. Do something about it. Use Incogni. Incogni goes broker by broker, forces each one to delete your file. The opt-out forms they bury, Incogni finds those files. And when your data tries to creep back, Incogni wipes it again. Go to Incogni.com/cats right now for 60% off. Incogni, INCOGNI, Incogni.com/cats. Take your private life off the market. Use Incogni, Incogni.com. Keep it here. It's Tony Katz today. Welcome back, everybody. Good to be with you. I feel like I'm losing my voice a little. Just like I feel it. I don't always feel it. Today I feel it. I don't know what it is. Could be weather stuff. I've had a good run. My voice has been solid. So I'm not surprised. All right. Bourbon fixes everything. I've got I do have an afternoon. I do. There might be bourbon in it. But I'm not a drinker. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Like all that's all real. I am a sipper. Like I'm really interested in what they're trying to do, what the expression is. But sit there and have a couple of bourbons in a night? No way. No. Couldn't do it if I wanted to. Oh, but I do have. Can I reach it? Can I? No, I can't. There. My chair just can't get over the. There it is. Over there at Costco, and where they do have like I have this. Hold on. This is actual size. This is so heavy. It's a 1.75. They're Scotch. This is their 12-year. Yeah, it's pretty giant. They did it for America 250. They have a 6-year bourbon that comes in a Glass Eagle decanter. They call it Patriot Eagle bourbon. We review it on the show this week on Eat Drink Smoke, eatdrinksmokeshow.com, just for the decanter. So awesome. So awesome. Yeah, check it out. Let's come back to the show. So what is next for President Trump regarding Iran? No one believes that Iran can be trusted. Nobody's interested in trusting Iran. So what are the next steps? And what about what's going on, and we discussed it earlier, with Greenland, where Denmark is coming out to say, oh, they're going to defend Greenland against President Trump. President Trump, he is not done making his play for this yet.
And if so, how many and where specifically?
I haven't made that final determination. A lot's going to depend on Greenland, and a lot. I think, I'll make a very good deal on Greenland. And if we don't, maybe I will. And a lot's dependent on Iran. I mean, they want to help now. It's a little late to the thing because essentially there's not that much fighting to be done.
Denmark shouldn't be fighting for Greenland. Denmark should be working a deal to get America to engage with part of Greenland. That absolutely, positively should happen. That is imperative that it happen. The trip was a success. But the trip, and we're talking about the trip to the NATO summit in Turkey. But this can all fall apart with these next moves regarding Iran. And it can all be self-inflicted wounds. He doesn't have to make the mistakes that he's now talking about making again. We'll get into it. In the meantime, Ed Morrissey joins us. What really happened with Graham Platner? We'll break it down. This is Tony Katz today. Yeah, weird on the voice, man. I ain't gonna lie. Messed up stuff. Guys, I can't thank you enough for being here. Cannot thank you enough for being here, and we're growing numbers. Really appreciate it. Really and truly do. We're back tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Every day we live stream at noon. Easy to be a part of. Easy to get in the chat room. Absolutely fantastic. Appreciate you guys so very, very much. Can't thank you enough. Don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the things. I will catch you tomorrow. Take care.